Hey folks, I'm here with your weekly rundown of apple varieties in your box. First we have Prairie Spy. This apple is always such a looker. It's got this russetting on top, but it always surprises me how beautiful it turns out because it's just kind of like this undersung apple variety. It's a little bit of cult favorite, as in like a if you know kind of apple. And so it's never flashy. It's not super popular, but it turns out just gorgeous, and it's an amazing keeper. So this is the Prairie Spy. And my theory is that when it was named, that the folks at the U of M, this was around 1947, were trying to capitalize on the popularity of the Northern Spy, a super duper popular apple on the East Coast at the time. But the Prairie Spy doesn't have any Northern Spy in it. And it really wasn't until this year I noticed, well, at least they've got this russeting. So they both have that russeting at the stem end. If I move my finger. Otherwise, I mean, even the quality of the red is different. The Northern Spy is more of a pinkish red, whereas the Prairie Spy is a little bit more of a true red. So I don't know. They're both large apples. They both have a lot of acid in them. The Prairie Spy is such a good keeper because it's super dense. But the Northern Spy is just about a perfect apple, really. I'm a very boring old person, as my children remind me, and I like to eat a snack of apple and peanut butter. So apparently that's what the very boring old people eat for a snack. And not every apple is a great compliment for peanut butter, but Northern Spy is fantastic. Penny's joining me. Hi, Penny. Next up, we have Winter Banana. So this is the first appearance Winter Banana is making this year. They grew really big this year, and we must have picked them at the right time because the texture is better. Now the cat is rolling the camera. The texture is better than they've been in the past. They're surprisingly crisp and a flavor that I would associate a little bit more, honestly, with russets. There was a lot of intensity to the sugar and the acid. So the Winter Banana are tasting great this year. Ruby John, still going strong on Ruby John, although it's probably going to be the last appearance that they make this year. We've been continuing to sell them in the barn this is probably the third week that we've got Ruby John around. Harrelson, we'll try and hold on to Harrelson as long as we can. Classic Minnesota apple, out of the U in 1927 or so. And then we got Frostbite. So this is a super duper weird one. On the sweeter side, but just a really weird flavor. Somebody last year suggested that it tasted like Captain Crunch. And yeah, I can kind of see that. I also think it tastes kind of like mince. There's a little catlet for you. I think it also tastes kind of like mincemeat. Not like necessarily the meat version of mincemeat, but like the dried spiced fruit kind of mincemeat. So that's Frostbite. For cider this week, I put No Fair in. Now, No Fair I normally think of as more of a summer drinker, like an Arnie Palmer iced tea style, but the lemon wasn't as prominent as I had planned for it to be this year, and so it's a little bit more black tea forward, and for that I use Tea Source's black iced tea blend. And for that reason, since it's not super citrus forward but more tea forward, it's drinking really nicely for the fall. So tea's not always an ingredient you find in a cider. It's usually fruitier combinations in a flavored cider. So even for those of you who don't care so much for flavored ciders, hope you find something to like with not with Northern Spy, but with No Fair.